Hello all, welcome back to the channel. So guys, we are back with the new episode of the mock interview based on Java and Spring Boot. And in this episode, we have Seshank with us, who is currently working as an SE2 at Subex. And if you guys are also interested in such a mock interview, then fill the form given in the description, and we'll pick you out for our next session. So with this, guys, let's start in the video. So hi, Shashank, first give us a brief intro about yourself so that my audience will know that on which tech stack you are working on and what all experience you have.
Yeah, hi Aman. Thank you for having me. So I was born and brought up in Bangalore. I graduated from PS University in 2023, and I have been working in Subex Limited since then. So it's been 2 years now, and mainly I've been working on Java and Spring Boot in Subex, and I've also integrated a couple of big data frameworks like Spark, Hadoop, Kafka, and other things. So that's it from my end.
Okay. Okay, great. So will you please help us with for the Java, which version you are using right now?
Until 6 months ago, we were on Java 8, and then we recently upgraded to Java 21 right now.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
for now it's at Java 21 and Spring Boot 3.2.
Okay. Tell us about what is optional in Java 8 and how it help us to handle null pointer exception.
Optional is basically so let's say we have a object which will fetch you null values. So we can just wrap it in optional, and you can say that if the option dot get is not null, then we can take the value directly. Um, in optional, there's also a few more options like option A is null or else like fallback mechanisms which will handle null exceptions crisply.
Okay. Okay. So do you know what is a functional interface in Java 8 and
Yes,
why we
yes.
need that?
A functional interface is basically an interface with only one public and abstract method. It can have other default methods and static methods, but there should be only one public and abstract method. Uh, it is used basically it's used along with lambda expressions to maintain clean code. So if there's only one abstract and a public method in the interface, we can directly we can define the method directly without having to implement the interface in the code. So like
Okay.
one good example will be runnable interface where you can just use lambda expressions to define the task we have to run.
Great, great. Okay, good. So the next question is, do you know what is the difference between the comparator and comparable, and where we have to use the what?
Yeah, comparator is used when we need flexible sorting order, and comparator is interface which is implemented directly by the class, and it has a fixed sorting order. So like string class has already implemented the comparable interface. So comparable interface has a function called compare to, and then so in that you have a fixed order, but in case where you need reverse order or direction is defined based on the user's preference, we'll go for comparator.
Okay. Any good example out of it so that we'll understand it better?
Um, let's say you're sorting a normal array. So arrays
Mm-hmm.
dot sort of that array, comma, you can define a new comparator there itself. It can either be in reverse order or normal order. And also you can define custom logic in comparator. You can define custom logic for sorting the objects. Like if you have an user object, and if let's say you want to sort by name, and if the name is same, then you can sort by their age or some other parameter. Basically, you can define multiple layers of rules for sorting.
Okay. Okay. Tell us about how Java handle the memory management, like what all memory Java use, how it's handle all of them.
We have a stack and heap in Java. So stack is used to store the primitive data types and then references to objects in heap. And heap is basically the area where all the objects are actually stored. Uh, it has object store. Sorry, it has space to store objects, and then we have a string pool in heap, and we also have a meta space for loading, storing the class metadata and static variables. Coming to handling of memory, Java has a garbage collector which is running in the background. So basically, whenever there is we can either call GC using system.gc, or Java will automatically call the GC when the heap space is around 75% or 80%. I think that threshold is configurable. So based on the threshold, it will call GC.
Okay.
And so for GC by default, I think we follow parallel GC in Java 21. I don't remember the exact algorithm, but basically we have something called mark and sweep algorithm. So we'll start from one point, and if any of the objects are not reachable from the starting point, they will be marked, and then they will be removed, swept basically. So the surviving objects will move to survivor space, and then so once the surviving objects survive 3 or 4 cycles of GC, they will move from the survivor space to major GC, older generation basically. So on older generation, GC happens less frequently, and they're kept in the memory for a longer time.
Okay. Okay. And in this answer, you mentioned something as a string pool. Do you know what is a string pool and why Java need that?
Since string is immutable, we can store the strings in heap directly, and whenever we are assigning a new string in the code, Java will internally check if the string is already defined in the string pool, and if it exists in a string pool, the same reference is used for the variable. So unless you're creating a new string using the new keyword, Java will fetch the reference for that string from the string pool.
Okay. Okay, so you are saying that in a string pool, Java keep all the strings there. So
Yeah.
what if we have some password as a string, and what if we keep that password inside that string pool, and some hacker come and try to hack that get somehow the access of that string pool. So is there any other way to handle such strings which require more attention and all?
Yeah, it's not a good practice to store passwords as string. Instead of that, we can use a character array. So character array cannot be accessed directly from the string pool. It's even if you try to access it from the memory, you'll only get the object reference and not the actual value. So whenever we need to store a password, you can put it in a character array, and validate it using that array itself.
Correct, correct. Okay. Till now, like Java looks good. You have good knowledge of Java. Coming to
Yeah,
now Spring Boot side. So have you used like APIs and all? Like,
yeah,
did
yeah,
you create APIs and everything? Okay. So
yeah.
suppose if from the UI, we have to accept some data, and suppose like from the UI, we have to save some data to our backend in the API to use that, or to store it in DB, or to do some checks and all. So what all params we have to send it there, means from UI to backend?
Uh, Params in the sense headers, or like just the request body.
No, what all methods we have generally to
Okay,
send
okay.
data from
Uh,
here? Hmm.
we have post mapping, put mapping, and then patch mapping as well. So it depends on the use case. If you want to insert a new entry in the DB, you can use post mapping. If you want to update part of the like already existing entry in the DB, you can use patch or put mapping.
Okay, okay. That's correct. But how will send the data from UI to backend?
We can use a REST template from UI to back. Uh, I'm not sure
Okay,
about the
so
UI part, but from backend, we usually use a REST template to send the data
okay,
from one service to another.
okay. Correct. But I am asking that we have some params like request body and path variable to
Path
collect that
variables
data.
and the request body. Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah. And apart
Right.
from that, also we have something like is only this two we have, or we have more as well?
Query parameters are there, path variables, and then request body. Um, we query pattern. I think that's it. Yeah, only these three.
Okay. 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 Now, suppose if I have to prevent some of the endpoint to get direct access without if the user is not logged in, then how can we achieve that in Spring Boot?
Yeah, we in Spring Security there is a interface called a WebMVC configurer. So we can configure a bean with which implements a WebMVC configurer, and then we can add the mapping for the API URLs. So basically, all APIs which start with a certain prefix or which are used by certain users can be filtered out, and only those can be given permission to execute whatever the API is there. I'm not sure
Okay.
about the exact fields and all, but basically any request you can have head mapping, and then if it is coming from certain URL, like each UI will have a certain fixed endpoint, right? So that also we can monitor here. Like unless it is coming from localhost 4200, you can filter out all the other requests. So we have a bunch of optional parameters there. So we can use that for preventing unauthorized access.
Okay. Correct. Correct. Okay. So do you know what are beans in Spring Boot and what are the scopes of that?
Beans are basically Java objects which are maintained by the Spring framework, sorry, Spring Boot framework. And what was the other scope of the beans,
The
right?
scope of the beans. Yeah.
Bean scopes, are you talking about the life cycle, or is it about singleton prototype? Or
Singleton, prototype, and all.
yeah. So singleton means the each bean is will have only one instance of the bean. Sorry, for a singleton scope, only one instance of the bean will be created. When we use a prototype, uh, every ins- every call for that bean will be a new instance, and then we have a request scope bean, session scope bean, and then some other. I don't remember all the other sessions, but yeah,
Not as not as
like one bean for request and same bean for the entire session. Uh, yeah, that's it.
Okay. So you mentioned that we have a bean with the scope singleton. Suppose if we have to make some class as a singleton, then how can we achieve that?
A singleton class is a design pattern where if you want to access the class, only the same instance will be returned from every place in the code. A singleton bean is basically an instance where if you want to inject the bean into the class, then single instance of the bean will be injected every time.
Correct. But my question is suppose there is a class, okay, and I want to make that class as a singleton so that only one instance I want to give it to all the users coming into our application. So how can
Yeah,
we
yeah.
achieve that?
Oh, okay. So like one option is to make the constructor private, and we can define a method called the get instance, public get instance, which will return the instance of the class. It's
Okay.
easier to type it in code rather than explaining it, but basically we have one field of the same class inside the class, which will be null. And whenever someone calls a get instance class, the get instance method, we can define the bean and then return it. So there are
Correct. Correct.
multiple variations of singleton. We can use
Hmm.
it for non single-threaded applications, and we have a build queue singleton for multi-threaded applications as well, so that the
Okay.
singletons are thread safe.
Okay. So what do you mean by this term that multi-threaded and what is thread safe?
Multi-threaded in the sense when there are multiple threads running parallelly and are executing the same task. So we have to make sure that the threads don't mingle with each other, or when they're accessing a shared resource, only one thread should have the access to the resource at any given point of time.
And how you will check that?
We have some methods actually. One use case is where we can use synchronized blocks or synchronized methods, and we have let's say if we have a shared variable, then we can use atomic integer or atomic collection. Uh, for the collections, we have concurrent collections also. Like we have concurrent hash map, and then vector in case of array list. So all of these are already thread safe.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So I think like I again back to Java. Instead of that, let's
Okay.
focus on Spring Boot. So my next question is, what is dependency injection in Spring Boot, and how we do that?
Injection is when a class requires an instance of one another class. Spring Boot will inject the dependency into that class. So basically there are three ways: constructor injection, setter injection, and field injection. Uh, Constructor injection is basically you define a constructor with the required class as a parameter, and then this dot the class instance is equal to the parameter value.
Okay.
So if there is only one constructor in that class, that constructor will automatically be annotated with the auto-wide annotation by the compiler. So and
Okay.
then setter injection is basically you have a setter field, and then we'll inject the depend bean into that using that setter method. And then field injection is you just define the instance of the class with the auto-wide annotation on top of it.
Okay. So out of these three, which is the best practice according to according to you?
Constructor injection is the best practice because it will have all the required dependency uh, in the constructor itself. So that is more, that will lead to less errors.
Okay. Okay, correct. Okay, so now let's focus on the things you have worked on. So in the starting, you told that you like have worked on the Kafka. So will you
Yeah.
please help us knowing that what is Kafka and why we use that?
Kafka is a message queue basically. It is used for asynchronous communication between microservices. Uh, so basically, when you want to send something to another microservices, you can send it from one microservice and to Kafka, and Kafka will have a broker which will hold the messages, and then so that is called a producer, and there will be a consumer which will pull the messages from the broker using a topic. A topic is basically a logical grouping for the messages. So all the messages coming from a particular topic will go to broker, and consumer will be continuously following the broker and will get all the messages for the particular topic.
Okay, okay. So for this kind of work, suppose if we need messaging queue, then in apart from Kafka, what all options do we have?
Um, I think we have RabbitMQ, and then I think we can use a SOAP APIs also. If I'm
Okay.
not wrong. I'm not sure about the other one. Yeah.
Not as well. Okay. So just one thing. Like, have you ever used Rabbit MQ?
I haven't used a RabbitMQ so far.
Okay. 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 Not as well. Okay. So like next. Now moving on to the next concept. So do you know collections in Java and have you used that?
Yeah, yeah, we use collections on a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. So what all collections you have used as of now?
Array list, hash map, uh, try. Uh, no, sorry, that's not a collection here. Array list, hash map, set, uh, reset, priority queues.
Okay.
Uh,
So.
yeah,
Mhm. Okay. So do you know the internal implementation of HashMap?
yeah. Um, so when we add a element to a hash map, so sorry, when we initialize a hash map, initially it will have only 16 buckets, and when we add an element to the hash map, the first thing it will do is it will calculate the hash code of that particular key, and then based on the hash code, it will assign will do a mod of hash code and buckets. That will get the bucket number into which the value will go, and then while inserting into the bucket, we'll check if is it empty or not. If it is empty, we'll directly insert into the bucket. If it is not empty, basic until there are 8 elements in the bucket, there will be a linked list. And once the bucket has more than 8 elements, the Java will internally optimize it to form a red black tree. So for linked list, its searching will be O of n. So but in by red black tree, it will be login.
Okay. And in
Yeah.
which Java version, did they use this tree concept instead of linked list?
In Java 8.
Okay, 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 correct. Uh, do you know like how we manage the session of the users and all? Like suppose if a
I
user
haven't,
is, Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Like if a user is,
If a user come onto your site, we generate some token JWT and then give it back to user and all of that concept. So do you aware of that?
uh, no, no, actually, we haven't worked on a JWT.
Okay. Okay. Just try to read it out. It will hardly take your 10 minutes or so, but
Okay.
it is also the most asked question in the interview.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We actually use a keycloak in our system, so there's no concept of JWT there. Everything is already handled by keycloak, and we'll just get a client secret and uh, secret key. So that will be used to authenticate all the requests from the UI.
Okay. Okay. Like I haven't heard this term.
Okay.
So I also have to check out this. Okay. Okay. So I think like yeah, we are good with your mock interview, and like my feedback is like you have decent experience on Java and Spring Boot. So yeah, you
Yeah.
are good with for any of the interviews. And also like if you need any kind of help in getting the referral and all, try to ping me out,
Yeah.
and I will try my best to get it for you.
Thank you, Raman. I sure I'll ping you sometime.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to share, among our audience who is currently in their stage of preparing Java and Spring Boot for their interviews? So, any advice
Honestly,
for them?
just having work experience is good enough for most of us. And just brush up on the basics like your core Java and then OS or CM and other networking stuff. So that is more. I feel that is more than enough for any kind of interview based on Java.
Great, great. Okay. So, guys, I will also try to ping the LinkedIn account of Seshank also in the description. And if you have any questions out, you can go to him and ask also. Okay. So with this, I am wrapping up the video. Thanks, Seshank, for coming here and helping our audience.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye.